Sa dudes, welcome back. It's been said over a billion times, but I'll say it again. The update Drone Age brings the Su-25 into the game. The Su-25K is particularly interesting because of its tricolor camouflage that is in the Iraqi Air Force livery. So, naturally this gave me an idea for the next nation I'll be trying out in my Kenya Beat series. Originally it was supposed to be Czechoslovakia, but pretending the T-72B is a T-72M4CZ is kinda sketchy, and Iraq is a genuinely much more interesting military to cover. They were allegedly the fourth largest army in the world. Of course, this claim is often disputed for a number of reasons. One of such reasons was that the numbers were actually inflated by at least 100% or double the actual numbers to project a large force against its neighbors. Another reason the claim is disputed is that the soldiers that actually made up the Iraqi ground forces were basically just civilians given rifles with their level of training. Of course, this was separate from the Republican Guard, which were the elite of all the Iraqi military and was a separate branch from the army and only numbered below 100,000. A unit of the Republican Guard, the Fedayeen, were even reported to have worn Darth Vader-style helmets because Uday Hussein, their commander, was a fan of Star Wars. A lot of Iraqi equipment was sourced from the Soviet Union due to the ties of the Ba'athist movement to the Soviets. For this video, I'll probably be only focusing on the Soviet equipment Iraq used. I really could not form a lineup around the British equipment Iraq used, let alone the Mirage F1 EQ. I also wanted to showcase the Su-25K as it is in the highlight of this update. So without further ado, let us answer the question, can you beat War Thunder as Iraq? We start with the Aral Sea at night, because if there's anything that Iraq excels at, it's a desert map at night. Just ask this ZTZ-96A prototype here as he takes to 9K111... 9K11... I can't say the name of this ATGM, but anyway, he takes the ATGM and exactly like the Gulf War, freedom comes a-knocking. Again, and again. So let's try attacking the drone. Well, in the day, we're now more successful. We make a bunch of ZTZ-96A's days a bit worse and secure a cap as well. I even get enough spawn points to get into the Su-25K, an attacker, which I promptly use to take out a drone. There are no weddings here, please go away. Then finally, I hop into an Mi-24D in Iraqi colors. Please don't say it's Syrian Arab Air Force livery, please don't. It hurts my feelings. Hop an ATGM onto an SPAA and do nothing. And of course, I get shot down because, yes. Oh well, at least Iraq's successes allowed us to successfully attack Alaska. Unfortunately, in this timeline, Iraqi WMDs were real and we used them to great effect on Alaska, and we launched an attack on the American mainland. The Iraqi BMP-2 crews were really efficient in handling NATO and the, quote, Westoids. While the BMP-2 wrecked the United States, I'll take this opportunity to talk about the military development of Iraq, just to highlight the equipment they used in their evolution. The origin of Iraq's military go as far back as 1921, when the British established a mandate over them at the end of World War I. The first actual war the Iraqis participated in was the Arab-Israeli War of 1948. By this time, the Iraqi military was using ex-British and Italian equipment, such as the Centurion Mark 5-1, Hawker Fury, and SM-79 Sparvieros. When the monarchy fell in 1958 and the Republic of Iraq was established, the Soviet Union immediately established relations with Iraq, and soon enough they were receiving military aid. By the time Saddam Hussein took power in 1979, Iraq had a near-exclusive Soviet arsenal, including newer acquisitions from Warsaw Pact nations, Yugoslavia, and China. One of Iraq's few Western partners were France, which temporarily halted shipments in the wake of the Iran-Iraq War, but subsequently delivered the Mirage F1 EQ and its subsequent upgrades, Gazelle helicopters, and Milan ATGMs. At one point during the Iran-Iraq War, Iraq also leased two Super Etendards from the French as a platform for the Exocets while waiting for the Mirage F1 EQ6 variant that had exocet capability. The Mirage F-1EQ formed the backbone of the modern Iraqi Air Force. It was also supplanted by the MiG-25 Foxbat. While technologically inferior, Iraqis were able to hold their own against Iranian F-14 Tomcats. At the end of the war, Iraq captured substantial amounts of Iranian equipment, including chieftain tanks which they used to some extent during the invasion of Kuwait. By the Gulf War, Iran's army had largely remained the same as their inventory during the Iran-Iraq War, only adding the MiG-29 to their air force. They also attempted local assembly of T-72M1s in Iraq under the moniker Asad Babil, or the Lion of Babylon, but there is little evidence to suggest that they progressed beyond a few examples, and the T-72M1s they did end up using were delivered complete from Poland. There was also talk of a single example of a Type 69 nice upgun to 125mm, but this again had very little evidence of being produced aside from a single example. Speaking of Iraqi upgrades, Iraq also upgraded their T-55s into what some would call the T-55 Enigma, fitting them not with ERA blocks, but rather inert laminate armor. While this one was fitted onto many T-55s and Type 59s in Iraq, there's little evidence to suggest that the armor provided any extra protection, mainly due to the type of ammunition against these tanks. By 1991, the Challengers were using darts, as well as the M1 Abrams, so it really had little in the way of protection against kinetic shells. Because of this rant, I have given enough time for the Su-25 to get into action. The Rooks have arrived, because our American ally... Hang on, wait a minute, American ally? I was just talking about the Gulf War and now we're in present-day Iraq? That's crazy. Well, anyway, our American ally is in need of help, so let's give him a hand, in the form of a Su-25 rocket run. The Stridsvan 105 takes a direct hit and blows up, saving our ally. There really wasn't any contention, but we secure the cap zone to win the game. But just before the game ends, I sneak one last kill onto the same Stridsvan 105, just to make him remember that in the war between Iraq and Sweden, Iraq shot first and we fired twice. So, in the question of can you beat War Thunder as Iraq, specifically Saddam's Iraq, you absolutely can. No need to use MiG-21s with chemical weapons. Thanks for watching this video. Leave a like if you want to see more of these videos. Leave a comment down below which nation I should do next. And please subscribe to see more videos similar to this one. This is the Dr. MD. Godspeed.